Hey guys, welcome to The Outlet. I'm your host Kayla Lewini, and this is finally the first episode, so tune in because we're about to be in for a ride. It's going to be lit. Okay, I don't know what's going on with these like gang signs, but essentially today I just kind of wanted to introduce myself. You all know me by Kayla. You know, I'm referred to as Kay. Perfectly K, my YouTube channel, K Renee, my Instagram, Sweets by K, my business page. So I'm trying to monetize myself or rebrand myself in a way that I'm memorable, whatever. Clearly I can't speak English, that's why I didn't go to school for English, but I currently go to school for psychology. I love the psyche, I love the minds. I like to make sure that people are okay. I like to talk about mental health, especially because I've been on a rocky mental health journey. I feel as though it's very important to talk about these things because not a lot of people talk about it, and unfortunately, and it's sad enough, even though a lot of my audience might be Christians or might be not, but like I feel as though like even the church, we don't really talk about our psyche. We always say that no disrespect and no shade either, because I tend to say a lot of things that might get me in trouble, but I promise you this is like the most genuine thing I've ever said ever. So even though specifically me and my situation, I was taught to conquer my issues with prayer, which is nothing wrong with that. I feel as though there are some situations where you need to go on your knees and need to pray for it, but then there are also other situations where you need to practically find ways to deal with it. So if you're struggling with depression, yeah, pray and ask God to fill the void, help you figure out what's wrong and everything. But at the same time, God also blessed us with people who major in this field, major in the psychology era, or major in the psychology field, so they know there's some other things to it. And then there might be things in your childhood, we'll talk about that later in another episode, but our inner childhood wounds that also potentially frames the way that we think and creates that foundation for us. Once again, my hands, we gotta do something, we have to do something about it. But so that's pretty much about me, what I'm passionate about. I want to create an outlet somewhere where everyone can receive emotional healing, combat different struggles that they're going through. We can talk about it. You can even DM me. We can probably even come on the show and have conversations. I definitely do want to, and for the youth too, like definitely for the youth. I feel as though I'm not restricting it to a certain age. Anybody anybody and everyone can watch. I'm not restricting anyone, but I do feel as though we need that kind of outlet for the youth. I feel like we're kind of ignored sometimes, and we especially growing up being Caribbean, like your parents kind of tell you that you don't have a reason to be stressed, or you don't have a reason to feel the way that you are feeling just because you don't necessarily work, have 5 kids and trying to feed a family. But it's just like, no, I'm still stressed, you know what I'm saying? And something that that my friend always tells me is like, if you are like a baby, for instance, a baby starts crying when it's hungry because that's the only pain it's ever felt in its life. It's like, whoa there, my stomach's grumbling, what is that? And it starts screaming its heart out. You tend to the baby. You're not gonna be like, oh, that baby's gonna be fine. No, you're gonna feed it. That's the like the most worst pain that it's ever felt in its life. So like, pay attention to it. You know what I'm saying? The same goes for a child in high school, middle school, that's expressing to you that they're stressed. Believe them the first time. They are stressed. They don't know what it feels like to have 5 kids. They don't know what it feels like to pay bills. They don't know what it feels like to have a 9-to-5 job. So this is what they know, and this is the most stressful thing. And when they come out of it, they're like, oh man, I wish I could go back. That's just life, and it's okay. That's why we're going through these life journeys. And I'm very passionate about like talking about these things, talking about the psyche, because once again, I do feel like I've had a very rocky mental health road, and I also feel as though certain things that we were told growing up, or just the framework that our parents had built for us, they did it honestly with all the intention to do a good job. But we live in a world where even in the purest form, love is flawed. So even when they were trying to teach us and mold us to be this great person, instead it came out with hurt and other things. And that's why these inner childhood wounds need to be addressed now, so that potentially when you get older, you're not being a roadblock for someone else in their life. The minute I turned 16, when I say 16, I want to say the minute I was going into my senior year, even though my senior year was probably the worst year ever in my life, for other reasons that we'll probably get to disclose, or we'll dive in deeper as we progress in the show. But I feel as though my journey, my self-growth journey, really started probably the end of the end of my senior year, actually. It started like, honestly, for me, it started with the very fact that I was like, you know what, I'm not going to overextend for anyone. I'm not going to overextend for my family, for friends, for me. Like, I'm going to, let me not say for me. I'm just kidding. I'm being dramatic, guys. Don't take me serious on that part, but take me serious in the other parts when I say that my self-growth journey did begin by just me saying, I'm focusing on me. I'm going to tend to me. I'm not okay. I know I'm not okay. I peeped that I'm not okay. I need to reground myself. I need to come back to terms with myself. I need to embrace myself. I need to do things that I can feel like myself again, because I felt as though my cup was empty. And I prayed about it, and I still felt as though, like, in the right places God was filling my cup, but then there were some other places, other areas where this is not, you know, this is not the void that how can I put this without sounding controversial, but this was just not the void that, you know, was God's size, if that makes sense. Even though everything is God's size, but I felt like he already filled his void that he needed to fill in me. But there was another void, not even a void, just another area of my life where I needed to actually put in the work. God's not going to just brush it off and I'm gonna be this perfect human. No, life comes with battles, life comes with ups and downs, and you just have to be strong enough and wise enough to realize that, no, I sense that I'm shifting. I'm sense that my life is not the way that I want it to be. So therefore, I'm going to realign myself. So I started with that. Even with little things like stop doing chores. Kids, I'm not saying do what I did. That was a bad example, because I low-key was being a rebel as well. But essentially, I knew why I was doing it. I was just like, no, like I felt like I was just always giving, and I just was not getting anything in return, you know. And so another thing that also motivated me to get on my self-growth journey was that my aunt actually told me, she was like, she gave me advice, and she goes, only give what you're willing to lose. And that probably was the best advice that I could have ever gotten, ever, because she said, even if it's $15, 15 minutes, if that's the thing that you're willing to lose, then so be it. Do not overextend yourself, because if you're stressed about it and stressed about losing it, then don't give it away. Same goes with your heart when in relationships. If you know darn dang diggity well in this certain situation you is not ready, please don't force yourself. Stop forcing yourself to be in predicaments, be in situations where you don't need to be, you know. Like, it's just not fair to you. And as selfish as it sounds, as selfish as it seems, at the end of the day, you have to take care of yourself, or else you're going to burn out. And not only will you burn out, you will not be the best you, so that you're able to help others and be there for others. You cannot tend to people when you haven't tend to yourself. You can't give what you don't have. So that's just something that I always say, like, in general, like, I try my best now not to give what I don't have, because essentially it's just like, you're gonna be left empty. I'm gonna be overextending. I'm gonna be upset. It's just a lot of stress going on. But essentially, I was just tired of fighting, because I'm an emotion. I guess I'm not an emotional person at all. Even though my sign is Cancer, that's kind of crazy, right? But like, I'm not emotional. And I would internalize everything, and then people would see like, oh my gosh, like Kayla's very strong. So I felt like that gave people the okay to now inflict harm on me, because they knew that, oh, she got it, and me being also blinded and also fooled by my own self that, you know, I could take it, until I started therapy last year, when I realized, guys, if I don't start taking therapy, I may not see 2021, because it just was becoming a lot. And if I'm being real quite honest with myself, I am so happy with that decision. I couldn't be where I am today. And even though I've only had therapy for 6 months, but I felt like I've released so much, and I'm at a much happier place in my life than I was before. I can definitely say that I reached a point of numbness, and through therapy, of talking it out and getting through everything, I was able to combat it. You know, not fully. I'm not where I want to be, for sure, and even my therapist would tell you, she is far from where she has came. But she's not where she needs to be, but she's far from where she came. And that's just the positive part of it. And, you know, and that's why I'm just like, you know what, I feel as though I'm not the only one that goes through stuff. I'm not the only one who, you know, has life issues. That's another thing. Sometimes people think that they're the only one, and I can't remember what I think it's called the spotlight effect in psychology, but there's this term where they're just like, you think everyone, or no, wrong term, guys, don't quote me on that. There is another term though where you feel as though you're the only one who goes through stuff and no one else, and you feel all alone, stuff like that. But in reality, it's like you're not the only one. A lot of people go through stuff, but pain is pain. If you feel hurt, you feel hurt. Don't ever feel as though you have to dim down your pain because lessen your pain because you think someone else has a greater pain. No, pain is pain, and how you take it, honestly, is what it is. But essentially, I just had to make that decision for myself. I had to choose me, and that's not the easiest thing to do. It's honestly easier said than done, because for me it's just like, well, if I choose me, like, I won't be there for people, or I'm not gonna be there for my friends, and I won't be there for da da da. You can come up with a list of reasons as to why you shouldn't choose you. And honestly, after I chose me, this probably was the best thing I could have ever done. I needed me, and I left me because I was so busy trying to, like, you know, tend to other people, do things for other people, and it's just like, it's not fair, you know. You have to make sure that you're okay, because essentially if you're not okay, then, you know, like, am I even making sense? Like, you know, you just have to make sure that you're there for yourself. I cannot stress this enough. So one thing that I'm gonna encourage you, one thing to take out of this first episode, this first, you know, sit down conversation, is choose you. In the hardest times, choose you. In the good times, choose you. In the times, choose you. Choose you first, because you have to be okay. You cannot bleed on other people. You cannot lead and bleed. I actually learned that from a sermon that I went to watch at a new church. Lead and bleed. You can't lead and bleed. Sometimes you have to leave and grieve. Sometimes you have to leave the situation, grieve it, sit in a corner, even if it's sit for days, weeks, but you sit for those days and weeks and you grieve, so that you prepare yourself to mentally be okay, and then keep on pushing forward. So guys, I really hope that I was encouraging, or just, you know, for our first topic, just for our first little get down to talk with each other, and really just essentially, I want you guys to take from this conversation that it's okay to choose you. It's okay to be selfish. A lot of people are gonna be like, no, like, no. As maybe it's controversial for y'all, maybe it's not for me, because honestly, I'm gonna say this once and I'll say this again and again and again. This was the best decision I could ever done for myself. Choosing me was the best thing I could ever done for myself. Especially since I was the kind of person who was just giving. I was in positions at my school to give to others, and yet I just felt as though I was never, like, being refueled. You fill up a gas tank once, that car is only going to take you for the amount of miles that gas tank filled you. After that, it's done. So you have to keep refilling it. So yeah, you can give to others. I'm not saying, please don't take from this conversation that I'm saying that you need to just do you and forget about everyone else. I'm saying choose you, so that you can be there well and mentally okay for others. You must be fooling yourself if you think that you are going to be able to lead people while being hurt, because hurt people essentially hurt people, and that is something that I did, that I am forever ashamed of, and probably most apologetic about myself, because I feel as though you don't realize it till you sit back and you realize that this whole time I was okay, I was leading, I was helping, but I was just bleeding on everybody. I was just, no, it was not good. But we'll continue this conversation, guys, in the next episode. Don't forget to watch. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to follow The Outlet Talk on Instagram. Don't forget to follow my Instagram at KXYRenee. Also, don't forget to follow my business page if you want some sweets by K, a sweet tooth paradise. But yes, guys, thank you guys for stopping by. Cannot wait for you guys to see the content that I have. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to go on this journey with you guys. Stay tuned. Don't forget to like, to comment, and to subscribe.